Hey guys, today we're going to do a really fun project where you're going to be tracing your hand and using concentric shapes to make this picture here. So what are some of those words I just said? Concentric shapes are when you have a small shape, like a small circle in this one, and then a bigger one around it and a bigger one around it, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So you can do concentric shapes with any kind of shapes. Triangles, squares, hearts, it really doesn't matter. And when you do your project today, you get to pick the concentric shape you use. And then when we're using our opposite color schemes, you're gonna pick two different color schemes that are opposite from one another. So in this case, I used warm and cool colors. There's other color schemes too. There's primary and secondary colors. You could also do pastels and dark colors. You get to decide which colors you use, but you definitely want to pick two sets that are opposite from each other so they stand out the most. I'm going to put some examples of opposite color schemes here in the video. If you want to pause it for a bit so that you can choose the scheme that you like the most and also make sure you have those colors, you can do that right now. So for this project, you definitely need to get yourself a paper, the colors that you need for your color scheme, and a pencil to start with, and a hand that you can trace, and we can go ahead and let's get started. All right, so the first thing we need to do is trace our hand on the paper. Since I'm right-handed, I'm going to be putting my left hand on the middle of the paper, and I'm going to trace by think of it like you're holding your pencil straight up and down. Sometimes people angle their pencil too much and then the hand looks tiny. So keep it straight up and down and just carefully trace around. And I have these long, crazy nails, so I'm gonna try to not trace those. Hopefully my fingers look normal. I'm going slow and careful. I am not pressing hard against my fingers because if you do press super hard against your fingers, they end up looking really lumpy. Okay. And now I get to the bottom of my hand, I'm also just gonna trace my arm off the paper. And that looks pretty good, I think. So, obviously my hands are bigger, so they take up more of my paper, but that doesn't really matter. The second thing you want to do is you want to start making your concentric shapes. So I did circles on this one. You could do squares, triangles. I think I'm gonna try doing triangles. So you start anywhere and have that shape, the smallest one, be somewhere close to the middle. It doesn't need to be perfectly in the middle. I'm gonna actually do one smaller. Okay. And then I just carefully make bigger and bigger. And notice how some of my shapes are going off the edge of the paper. I'm gonna keep doing this until I fill my whole paper up. Okay, so now when I look at my paper, it's kind of hard to see where the hand is and where the shapes are. So I'm gonna use a Sharpie, or you can use like a marker, color pencil, whatever. Just use black and carefully trace the outline of your hand. This is gonna help you when you start adding the colors to kind of keep it straight in your head. Now I'm ready to start adding my colors. So first you want to pick your two color groups. On this I did warm and cool colors. I think on this one I'm going to do primary and secondary colors. You want to pick two different color groups and you want to make sure they don't share the same colors, because if they do, it's going to make this part harder. So I have my red, yellow, blue, my purple, green, orange. If you care about what order the colors go in, you might want to lay them out in the same order for yourself, just so that you can remember what order. And I'm going to do my hands in the primary colors. So I think it's easier with this to start by doing either all the hand first or all the background first. what you want to do is really take your time looking at the concentric shapes and kind of counting, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and trying to make sure that you follow the shapes. So what I mean is this. I'm going to start with this middle triangle here, the smallest one. I'm only going to color the blue inside the hand. Okay, so I'm done with the blue. I'm going to put this away. I think going one color at a time is much easier than doing all one color first. Now here's my second triangle, see? I'm only going to color the yellow inside the hand when I color in this second triangle. All the area outside the hand is going to be colored in with one of my secondary colors. Now I'm going to go on to my next one, and I just keep doing that one triangle at a time until my hand is all full with the one color. Okay, so I'm all done with these primary colors. It takes a little while. You do have to think when you're doing it. You can't rush through this or it's really not going to work that well for you. But as you can see, that's already starting to look pretty cool. Now when I go on to my secondary colors, I want to do kind of the same thing where I go one color at a time and just keep looking at the triangles, because if you're not paying attention and you don't follow, like see how this red one goes this way and then back up through here and then through there. If I did different colors here, here, and here, it kind of gets rid of the effect. I'm gonna have my colors go in this order just because I would like the complementary colors to be next to each other. But see, now I'm going on the outsides of these triangles, just going one at a time, and you're gonna start to see the effect kind of working. You're also kind of completing the triangles that you started when you were doing the inside. So just like when you were on the inside of the hand, take your time, pay attention to what you're doing. If you need to stop and kind of look it over, do that. And then you can continue by doing the outside pretty much the same way. Okay, that took me a while, but I am all done now with my second hand here with the concentric shapes and the opposite colors. If you feel like your hand is getting lost in the colors, you can trace maybe the black around it a little thicker, which is what I'm gonna do real quick. Before you decide to trace around it thicker, actually look at it from a distance, because when you're looking at it super close, it looks crazy. But when you look at it further away, it's a lot easier to see the shapes. But again, just take your time on this one. It does require a little bit of thinking and planning. You can't just go crazy on it. But I think the results are really cool. Alright guys, I hope you had fun in making your concentric shapes and your hands and your opposite color schemes. I don't really know what to call this, but I just think it looks really cool. I would love to see yours. If you are in one of my classes, please put it up on Google Classroom so that I can see what you did. But I will see you guys next time for our next video. Bye!